This tutorial will cover the basics of how to associate a settings file with a new device application. A toolkit settings file must be associated to the proper application before it can be loaded to a device. This ensures that things like the parameter set, data types, units, range constraints, etc. are correct for the target application. To associate a settings file, use the Associate with Application button on the Settings ribbon tab. Select the settings file to be associated by clicking the Browse button. You can also use the File drop-down to select a recently used file. Next, select the SID file for the application that you want to associate with by clicking the Find button. Now click the Associate button. If there are any settings name differences between the source settings file and the target SID file, they will be displayed in the Name Differences tab. In some cases, you may have name differences where some settings will exist in one file but not in the other. If the target application does not support partial settings, by default, source settings values are propagated to the target settings. However, unmatched source values can easily be used instead of the application defaults. If the target application supports partial settings, name mismatches are excluded from the resulting settings and must be mapped in order to be added to the resulting settings. To do this, select the Name Differences tab. Select the setting in the source settings list on the left. Select the desired target setting from the list on the right where the data type matches. Now click the Map button. The settings mapping will display below the lists and be added to the resulting settings. A mapping can be removed by selecting the desired mapping and clicking on the Unmap button. If the target SID file allows partial settings files, you can add any unmapped application defaults to the resulting settings. From the Name Differences tab, click the Add Unmapped Defaults button. The resulting settings will now contain all settings defined in the target application where unmapped settings will contain default values. Settings that do not have a default value defined in the target SID will not be added. If there are any settings value differences between the source settings file and the target application default values, they will be displayed in the Value Differences tab. By default, source settings values are propagated to the target settings. However, source values can be overridden by the application defaults. To override source values with application defaults, select the Value Differences tab. For an individual value that you wish to change to the default, click the Use this value in the resulting file button next to the value you want written into the resulting file. To write multiple values at once, select the desired settings by holding down the Control key while clicking on each desired item in the list. Or, press Ctrl A on the keyboard to select all items. Then click the Use the selected values in the resulting file button in the list header to override the resulting setting value. The resulting settings is a hierarchical listing by the identifier showing the settings that will be saved to the new settings file. Use the resulting settings listing to navigate the settings. Or, enter text as desired into the filter text box to shorten the listing with settings names that match the text. Double-click on the value column to put the row in edit mode. Type a new value and press Enter. If the target SID file allows partial settings files, settings in the resulting settings can be removed if desired. Use the resulting settings to navigate to the desired setting. Click on the setting to select it. Click the Delete button above the listing. Multiple settings can be selected by holding down the Control key while clicking on each setting. When the resulting settings file is ready, select the Save button. Enter a file name and click the Save button to save the file. If there are any errors in the resulting settings file, you will see an error icon next to the Save button. I will try associating a different file to illustrate this. The selected SID in this case does not support partial settings and some target settings do not have initial values defined. To see the errors, click on the error icon. The resulting settings file cannot be saved until the errors are resolved. This concludes the tutorial. Thanks for watching.